I've scaled over 90 marketing agencies, some of them making hundreds of thousands per year, some of them making millions per year, and some of them making tens of millions per year. And I've seen everything from the way that they build their offers, from the way that they book meetings, from the way that they do sales, to the way that they do operations, and the way that they've removed themselves from the day-to-day. I've seen every single part of how they run their agencies. And what I want to do is share exactly how they do it and the smartest path that you can take to get from $0 to $100,000 per month. So these are systems that I wouldn't usually share. We used to keep all of these systems in-house. We'd take the best strategies from every single agency and apply it across all of our clients. But now, because I'm building out the protocol that we use to scale all of these agencies and releasing it to the public, I want to share the 3 steps that all of our clients take to scale rapidly and add an extra 7 figures, and that you can take to implement today so that you can sign clients faster, scale up faster, get out of the day-to-day, and just have an agency that runs without you. So I'll be walking you through the 3 milestones that you need to hit. And if you can hit all 3 of these, you'll be very successful. So milestone number 1 is to find proof of concept. Now, proof of concept is simply the point where you have something that works in the simplest terms. So let's say you're trying to book meetings and your goal is to book 1 per day. The proof of concept of that is the point where you're booking 1 per day. So you'll test scripts, you'll test messages, you'll test leads until you find the winning combination. And at that point, you'll have something that works. So you can have proof of concept in bookings, you can have it in sales, you can have it in delivery, but you can also have it in the overall business. So overall business proof of concept, otherwise known as product market fit, is where you have a product that solves the major problem of your niche. And if you can do that once, it just means you can do it an unlimited amount of times until the system breaks. So what we're looking for is proof of concept in acquisition, so in terms of signing clients, and then proof of concept in terms of delivery, so in terms of getting your client the desired outcome. So point number 1 is to validate organic outbound strategy. So what we're going to do is, and I have other videos explaining how to do this, is using outbound strategies for free, like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. We're going to figure out a method that allows us to get 1 to 3 calls every single day completely free. And again, I made videos on this, so you can literally just use that, get to that point, and then book meetings. Then once you have 1 to 3 calls coming in per day, the next step is to find sales proof of concept. So that means you're closing at least 20% of every single booking that comes in. And at this point, if you're booking 1 to 3 calls a day, at minimum, you should be taking 5 calls every week. And if you close 20% of them, doing the math, you'd be signing 1 client every single week. So you should be charging at least $2,000 to $10,000 per month. So if you can do that, at minimum, you should be adding $2,000 per month and then $8,000 per month in total monthly recurring revenue. And the next step is to document your method. So now that we found something that works on acquisition, that's booking meetings, closing deals, we want to document the process. Now, what that means is you simply pull out, let's say, a Google Doc, Notion, ClickUp, whatever you use, and you write down the steps required to get this outcome. And by doing this, it allows you to obviously repeat it yourself and get the same outcome every time, and you have predictability. But also, if you want to get someone else in to do it for you, then you can just give them that document. And this entire process and everything I talked about now is what we help our clients to do. We help them scale up using these 7 and 8 figure strategies to just get, rapidly a lot more revenue, add an extra 50, 100, in many cases, 200K per month. So now that we're signing clients, we need to validate the delivery mechanism. So the first step is to automate your onboarding. So once you have 1 client coming in, you're going to figure out the onboarding process. You're going to do it all manual. You're going to figure out the pieces of information that you need to collect from them. So let's say the ideal client, let's say the case studies, let's say assets that they can use in their marketing. And you're also going to figure out the things that you need to provide to them in terms of expectations. So for example, how long are the campaigns going to take to get ready? Who is their point of contact? Who do they talk to? And once you figure it out once, the first step is to automate this process. So everything that you need to collect from them, you put it in a form, let's say a Google form, type form. And when they get onboarded, you just send this to them and they input everything. So it's super efficient, super effective. And in the same way on what you need to share to them, you put this in a document, you record yourself going through it, and this becomes their onboarding video. So now when someone becomes a client, you just send them a video, you send them a form, and they can onboard themselves completely. And they have perfect expectations as to how the entire partnership is going to go. And again, this is what we do across all of our clients. Then the next step is to validate the delivery mechanism. Now, simply put, what this means is you just need to find a way to get the outcome that you promised in your marketing. So this just involves tracking your numbers. So whatever your campaigns are, whether that's ads, outreach, anything, you just need to track your numbers and keep testing until you find the mechanism that works. Now, if you're watching this, I assume you already have clients and you've done this before. So if you have, by all means, just keep doing that. If you haven't, you're going to have to use resources, courses, books, training, whatever it is, to just get to this point. And then the final step of number 1, finding proof of concept, is to document the delivery mechanism. So again, everything that you're currently doing, put it in a doc, put it in Notion, put it in ClickUp, whatever you think would be best. we recommend using Google Docs and we show you how to do all of this, but document it all. And now that you have everything, you have the foundations to scale. So the objective of completing milestone 1 is to be adding an additional $8,000 every single month. So this just means you're booking meetings, you're signing clients, and you're charging at least $2K a month. And then you're also delivering for your clients, which means they're not leaving within the first 30 to 90 days. Now, milestone 2 is applying permissionless leverage. So simply put, what this means is, let's define leverage. Leverage is the difference between inputs and output, which means that we're looking for things where we can put a small amount of input in, a small amount of work, a small amount of effort to get massive returns out. So for example, what we're doing with the onboarding is that instead of every single time a new client signs, you take them through the call, you explain this thing, you ask them manually to collect these things, we use leverage. We create a form once, we create a video once, and it can be used and seen infinitely, right? So by doing this, it removed all of your time, it removed you as the constraint in doing this, and then, it works. So that's leverage. Now, permissionless leverage is the idea that you don't need the permission of other people to make it or to do it. And there's two types, code and content. So code is using things like software, using things like Zapier, creating automations that just run without you. And then secondly, content. So creating videos, SOPs, workflows, all of this that again can work without you and doesn't require other people. So we're going to use permissionless leverage now to save you time and get you out of a lot of communication and a lot of day-to-day work. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create agency infrastructure. So everything that you're currently doing in documenting the processes, like creating the SOPs, creating the workflows for booking meetings, sales, all of this, we're going to document it in one centralized location. And again, we show our clients how to do all of this. We actually just give them our system so they can copy and paste it. So instead of spending like 50 hours trying to figure this out, we just give them best practices from 90 other agencies. But regardless, you can either put it in a single Google Doc, a single Notion page, whatever you want to do, but it just has to be publicly available. And when I say publicly, I don't mean like every single person in the world can see it. I just mean you and your team, they have access. So you don't have to like send docs all over the place. So the next thing we're going to do is automate communication. So there's two people you communicate with, your team and clients. So with clients, in the beginning, in the onboarding, we already communicated the expectations, what we require from them, and then, frequently ask questions. So that's what we did there. And we did that using content. The next thing we're communicating is team training and the company info. So for example, the way that you do the sales process, the way that you do the appointment setting, the way that you do delivery, because you documented this, you're going to give this to your team and you can easily give it off to them so they can just follow it sequentially and then get it. So essentially, you've just automated all the communication that would need to be taken place between your clients and all the training that you would need to have done with your team members. And now finally, there's room for additional automation. So there's going to be certain tasks, and you'll know that these tasks are easily automatable by the level of repetitiveness. So if you're doing the same basic thing over and over and over and over, then it means that you can automate it. So let's say for every sales call you take, you want to send them resources, you want to send them videos that explain what you do, some case studies, all of that. Instead of you manually sending the email every single time, what you can do is you can go into a tool like Zapier and make an automation that whenever someone books into Calendly, they automatically get an email sent to them with the following case study. And by doing that once, by creating an automation once, you never have to do it again. And it just works without you. And the automation doesn't get tired, it doesn't get lazy, it doesn't get demotivated. It just happens every single day. Another example is, whenever we get a new booking coming in, we get a notification from Calendly into Slack so that our entire team can see it. And if it's unqualified, they can cancel it. If it's qualified, we just obviously have the call. So these are just some ways you can automate things. And the next step for you is to go through everything you're currently doing. Whenever it's repetitive, whenever it's basic, create an automation that gets you out of it. And you can just save hours and hours and hours per week for barely any cost. So the objective for this milestone is for you to be out of 90% or even 100% of the initial client communication, so the entire onboarding, and 90% of the questions that they would ask by having like a frequently asked questions document. And then out of all initial training for your team members. So by all means, they'll have some specific questions, but when you do get team members, they should be able to go through the entire workflow, the entire SOP, understand everything about you, your company, how it works via content, right? So you don't have to do all of this training. So the objective is for you to be out of all of that. And then once you are out, now you're just focused on the tasks that actually require thinking, that requires effort, and then managing the overall system. So milestone number 3 is to decentralize system management. Now, decentralization, let me just explain what that means, is that for most agency owners, they're essentially freelancers, right? They've just got like 20 bosses. They say they're working for themselves, but in reality, they're working for like 20 people. So what most agencies have is a situation where they are linked to everything. They're linked to client support, they're linked to delivery, they're linked to sales, they're linked to marketing. They're involved in everything. They're stuck in the day-to-day. What we want to get to is a point where you are decentralized. And decentralized means that you are not the one linked to all of these things. So for example, I have a setting team. So I have a team of 4 setters who reach out on behalf of our company. And at first, they would all report to me. So they'll tell me the reports, they'll tell me their issues, and they're constantly tagging me in Slack. So what I did to decentralize myself was I hired a setter manager. And what happened was, I only speak to the setter manager, but the setter manager speaks to all 4 of the setters. So any issues that they have, it just goes to him. So in the same way, what you want to do is decentralize yourself from things like client management, from things like delivery management, from things like setter management. So an example is your clients. If they are constantly messaging you at all hours of the day, then it would help to get someone else in to help with the support, whether that's a VA, a client success manager. This is what we'd be doing. So that's the decentralization part, decentralized system management. The next part is system management. And what does that mean? It just means overseeing or operating the systems that run the business. So that may be appointment setting, so actually getting the bookings. That may be the sales system, so actually doing the sales calls. But it may also be managing the team that does the delivery. So for example, you may have a lead sourcer, you may have a copywriter, you may have something else, and someone else can manage this entire production line. So the first hire that I recommend for every single agency owner to make, whether you're making 3K, 10K, 100K, a million, is an operational assistant. And what this person can do is everything, right? Simply put, most agencies, they try to hire like a specialized role, like a client success manager from the start. But in reality, all they need at the start is to just give off all of their administrative tasks. So all the small things that you don't like doing that you actually have to do right now, you can get an operations assistant for around 500 to 1,000 per month, and they can genuinely take care of 80% of your day-to-day work. It is the biggest and highest ROI hire that you can make because there's no limit to what they can do. The only limit is your ability to actually give it to them in terms of documenting the systems and training them. And because you've documented everything already, like the steps I mentioned, it's very straightforward. It's very easy because they can just follow it. So this is obviously a hire that we help our clients to make. We can just give one to you because we have a network of all of them. But if you're looking for new ones, by all means, you can find them anywhere, places like Upwork, Fiverr, job posts, Facebook groups, even your network, right? If you know someone who's just willing to work, who is competent, who's smart, who's hardworking, by all means, you can get them into an operational assistant role. Then the next step is to get yourself out of all the day-to-day execution. So what this means is that you may be the one still doing client strategy or, overall delivery strategy. You're deciding what may be the best thing to do, but you should be out of all execution in that you don't actually source the leads. You don't actually do the things that need to be done, the admin things, potentially even booking meetings too. You may still be in sales and management, but everything else in terms of execution, you should be out of. And the objective of milestone number 3, which is decentralizing system management, is to get you to the point where you're only focused on leveraged activities. So what this means is content, so actually posting content, team, so managing the actual team, and then product, so building the product that your clients use. And everything else, every other piece of execution, you're out of it completely. So that includes sales, client support, client delivery, you're out of it. And you're just focused on the big things that move the needle for the entire business. And then the final part of this milestone is scaling up everything else. Because now that you're out of the day-to-day, you can scale up your bookings, you can scale up your sales, you can scale up your clients, and it doesn't actually give you more work. This is the key point. It doesn't give you more work. So you have an unlimited amount of capacity as long as you can hire and automate the key tasks. And this is what no one is going to talk about, but this is actually what's going to be the thing that's going to allow you to go from 10K to 50K to 100K to even 200,000 per month, like a lot of our clients. So if you want help scaling up as fast as possible and you just want the proven systems from, again, over 90 agencies, some making 7, some making 8 figures every single year, that you can just copy and paste into your business, just book a time using the link below and we can give you a demo of all the systems. And I'll be completely transparent. If you want to sign up and work with us, it'll be great. You'll get there a lot faster. But if you don't, you can just take the systems and use it for yourself.